My name is Andrea Goeman. I'm heading sustainability at JAS, a company some of you might not know. So I give you a short overview about our company and also, what are the challenges of supply chain and sustainability, because we are a service company. So we are a shipping company, global logistics provider, and we don't have own assets. So as a good, I would say, comparison to Word, we are the enabler of circular economy for our customers, but we are really having a completely different approach and different challenges. Happy to also have your questions later on. So we just started the sustainability journey this year. So our company is headquartered in the US. So, and in the US, you might know it's not based in the culture, I would say. So getting the awareness, our customers really want this topic, sustainability. We're getting more and more questions. And then from hiring some expert team and really making it a business imperative, it was a quick journey, I would say. So I think it's a different approach compared to Europe. So again, we have a lot of offices. We are still family-owned company based in, founded in Italy. And we have over 230 offices in over 47 countries and also agents. So we don't have own country offices in every country, but also agents we work with. So we have our own supply chain is very diversified. So you might also have the same experience that a colleague in Panama or in the Philippines has a completely different approach towards sustainability than we here in Europe. We all know it's super important here in Germany. We all know, have been working in this field maybe for a decade or longer, but they're really lagging also the knowledge to drive this topic forward. So again, a little bit insights about our company. So we are very people-orientated. You know, we are a services business. So all we have as a capital is really our people and our expert knowledge about international trade and enabling international logistics supply chains. Then we have, of course, a lot of technology. So nowadays, you not only want to say, hey, my shipment is arriving at the port of destination maybe in 10 days, but you want to have real-time visibility on your shipment nowadays, also to manage your inventory, for example. And of course, working with the customer to really enable these topics of circular economy or optimizing the supply chain to also save costs. This is also our day-to-day job. So what are the main drivers? I think you already talked about it today quite heavily. Of course, climate change, resource scarcity. Our colleagues here from Word outlined that perfectly, I think, right now. But also, let's think about supply chain disruptions. Yeah, so after the COVID pandemic, it's still a lot of disruptions going on. So for example, a lot of our shippers switched their international trade to more air freight solutions than ocean freight. And this is just heavily carbon intense transport mode. Yeah, so going back to normal is still kind of difficult for our customers. I mean, there's always a trade-off. Of course, it was also a nice time for many logistics and shipping companies in general. But going back to normal or consulting our customers in this normal direction again, it's also a part of our job. Yeah. And also we see an increase in consumer demand from our shippers, especially if they are publicly traded companies. The management is incentivized towards ESG targets, and also if they have a lot of pressures from their shareholders. So as I mentioned, we are a US-based company, but we also need to comply to all EU regulations. We have significant business here in the European Union. So if you are above 500 employees, we also need to comply to the supply chain law, for example, or to the CSRD very soon. So we are also in it. And I think that's also good that really also the international business partners of Europe are pushed toward this topic, no? Just to give you an idea, as mentioned here, the logistics or the general transport sector, this is also including passenger transport, is around among the top 4 sectors. So what are the top 3 sectors? Of course, industrial production, energy production, and also agriculture. So we contribute quite heavily to the global carbon footprint. And today our presentation is a little bit about supply chain risk, because I think this influences many of our companies and many of our lives. Yeah, so everything we have here in this room is maybe imported from another country, and having a well-managed supply chain enables business. And in the current times of like also very many political disruptions, a lot of economic downturn, especially here in Germany, we also have to think about supply chain risk also from a cost management perspective. So this was a survey from this year from the World Economic Forum. So what are the main risks for the upcoming decade according to CEOs? And we already see here that of course, I mean, right now, of course, there are other political issues going on, but according to the survey, the mitigation of climate change and also the adaptation towards these targets is like on top of their mind. No? Same goes for the natural disasters and the extreme weather events, especially when you think about your factory. Some of you might know in Germany, I think one month ago, there was like the Volkswagen and other car manufacturers were not able to produce their cars anymore because one little part was missing due to a plant that was flooded in Slovakia. Ne? So they were like, most OEMs sourced their products from this specific supplier, from this factory. Nothing you should normally do, as we know, that you should have more suppliers, but there are just some specialists, of course, around. Ne? So they all had to stop their production. And this was a reason of the flooding, so of a natural disaster. And you see direct implication, huge costs also for these companies. No? Then we have, of course, biodiversity, which is for us as a logistics company, of course, a very difficult topic. We can think about the oceans, of course, and all the container ships going there every day. So how can you like mitigate this climate impact a little bit, no? And then we have, of course, the topic of migration, also very heavily impacting our societies, and other social factors. And just mentioning our supply chain law, I guess you talked about it before today. So really making aware what is the impact of my company's suppliers in the world. This is quite a heavy lift, I would say, for most of our production. We see it at Word, for example. I can imagine you source like from all countries around the world, and really making your customers, but also your suppliers aware of these implications. This must be a huge challenge. No? So we are very asset light, but for asset heavy companies, this is a huge task, I think. No? So we also, of course, work with our suppliers, but it's a different level. No? Okay, then we also have the incidents again that will happen, are more and more often happen, and we see it in the news every day. And this also damages, of course, some of our customers' factories, and it's an ongoing topic. So our job as a logistics firm is really helping our customers to continue their production. Also, if there's like a major incident or major threat to their business, so really getting the goods from point A to Z in a very reliable manner. And we see that this is like occurring now more and more urgently. So again, air freight is the way that enables this fast move, but it has a huge impact on the climate footprint of our customers. So we always try to mitigate this, also enabling our customers to a circular approach. Yeah, so transport things back to their factory, also raw materials that are possibly not good anymore. Yeah. So just to give you an overview, what are the main levers in our own sustainability strategy? And again, we just started this year, so it's a little bit early on. We cannot deliver on everything. I think it's also in sustainability important to be honest. Yeah. So it's a longer journey. I think we are only like 2% there. So from our own footprint, and we talk a lot about environment in logistics, it's of course we want to reduce the impact of our own source transport services. And also we are looking into the topic of green products. So for example, in ocean freight and container shipping, there's a possibility to do insetting with biofuels. Same goes for air freight with sustainable aviation fuels. But these are fuels made of used cooking oil most of the time, and it's just not widely available. So these are just very, I would say pilot products that a few customers can afford, but it's not the common solution, yeah? We already talked about circularity, so I think some of our customers fortunately have more advanced in the journey, but we also see it with many of our automotive customers that are really just starting with that and see, okay, this is getting more and more expensive, so how can we mitigate these costs and really focus on recycling, no? And then we think about our own warehouses and offices. Of course, we also need to educate our people. So in many of the countries we operate in, there's like a lot of air conditioning, for example, or in the US, they always never switch off the lights. No? So really educating people around it, it's sometimes super easy. For us, it's a natural thing to do, but believe me, in some countries, it's not. No? So I think we also need to keep that in mind. Education is key here for our colleagues. On the social part, and the biggest risk here for me is in really our warehouse space, so really educating our people around what are they doing in the warehouse, also in regards to recycling and packaging our pallets, for example, no? We are, as a logistics company and industry, I would say we are very male-driven industry, you might think, but we have a lot of women. In our company, we have 45% of women, and also bringing them or enabling them to go into also leadership positions. I think this is also our responsibility in our industry. Maybe easier in some other industries, but I think logistics is also super interesting now, also with the recent challenges we had, no? And we are very lucky. So Alejandra is here with me, my colleague. So we are driving together a very nice project. We are still a family-owned business, and our owner family is having a company, a foundation, and we're really driving sustainable projects with our local colleagues. So they can name their own volunteering project with their local team, even get like 2 days time off every year to really contribute to that. And this, I think, makes a real difference and also makes them aware, okay, what can I do in my own community? No? So this is, I think, takes sometimes longer in bigger organizations to implement such programs, but this is, I think, makes it very tangible for people that are passionate about the topic. Then we talked, of course, about the compliance, so the regulations. Maybe you had them in another session today. Again, for us, it's also a challenge, I have to say, no? Because maybe some of you also worked with consultants or with advisors on the KPIs you need to report on. And I think once you made this materiality analysis, you already know, okay, this is like what's material to me, what I need to report on in my sustainability reporting. But still, I think it's a huge task for all of us, no? And it's not an easy task to get all your colleagues, all your offices underway with this topic. So if you have a very easy solution for energy measurement in all offices worldwide, let me know. We can talk. I'm open for solutions. I think it's really making it tangible and easy to measure. So I think that's key, not overcomplicating it. Again, we just started with our strategy work. So what makes, for me, the most success in implementing such a strategy? Really having or create commitment on all levels. So creating, starting from the CEO, from the board members, communicate what do we want to reach with that. So we want to be top of mind for sustainable logistics as a company, and then embedding it in all of these functions. So I don't even want to have like a huge team. I think for me, it's like more important that all my colleagues and the board members are talking about this topic. So I think for me, it makes a way bigger impact, yeah. Then, of course, we are working on our targets. we are highly depending on our suppliers here, to be honest, and also implement these work packages and implement it in the, also in the bonus structure sooner or later. I think then it becomes really, really tangible, yeah. And yeah, we hope to publish our first sustainability report next year. But again, we are not a publicly traded company, so of course it's a different approach we are driving here. No? So again, we get started here. We really try to mitigate the risk for our customers and ourselves, and are still in the process, of course, of analyzing our own supply chain emissions. So we can give our customer the footprint for all of their shipment, for all their air, ocean, trucking shipments. But we also need to create the internal awareness of our own footprint. So we are still adapting to the all the global challenges we have here, but we want to report year-on-year progress from next year on, and then deliver on these targets. And I think it's not impossible also to implement it right now. We started rather late, but I think we are still on a good way. Just wanted to share, because the topic is also risk management, how if you haven't done so that for your company, how you can initiate maybe a risk management matrix for your company. So in risk management, it's always the axis of impact or severity on your supply chain, and also the likelihood, the probability when an incident or like a risk can occur. No? And for us as a logistics company, the biggest risk is, of course, global conflicts as we see right now, and also financial risk. Yeah, so we are dependent highly on the economic situation of our shippers, of our customers, of course. Otherwise, we have financial implications right away. So this is the highest risk for us. Yeah. Then, of course, the risk of cyber attacks. So, for example, in the previous years, some of our suppliers, competitors have been hacked, for example, and we, logistics companies ship like millions of shipments every day, and this has huge implications for us as an industry. No? Still, of course, staff and labor shortage. This is also an issue. Was even heavier lift in the pandemic time, of course. No. Then, of course, we have the infrastructure risk, or I would say challenge. Let's think about EV trucks, for example. So that's always this chicken and egg in our industry. So there are EV trucks, hydrogen trucks available in Germany, also in other European countries, but it's just not sometimes the right infrastructure, the loading infrastructure, and also not the hydrogen or the green hydrogen available, unfortunately. No? And again, procurement is also a huge risk for us, because we don't really know what's happening in some countries we are operating, what really happens when we don't own the supply chain, for example, when we have subcontractors. Yeah, so it's not clear what is really happening, and we cannot also assure what if it's 100% compliant every time. We need to have a very close collaboration globally. Then again, the topic of climate change is something, of course, impacting our industry, and also the fuel prices. So now the oil price is going up again, and I just heard it on the radio. So oil price is going up. Then the of course, it has a huge implication also on the interest rates and everything. Yeah, so this is, of course, highly impacting our truckers, for example. No? And also some in Germany next year there will be another tax on CO2 for the trucking industry. So this will also, we as a consumers will have to pay for that at the end of the day. No? So we have to face these higher costs due to sustainability too. No? Okay, so I think this is a good way, if you do that for your company and your business, to get started with the risk analysis, and then also tell your management, hey, these are the biggest risks. What kind of measurements can we put to mitigate them? So I think it's an important task that for sustainability teams. And then I want to share one case study with you, because I always like to show actions, what you can do when you make your decisions. So again, we are in the business of shipping. So for some of you, it's maybe a topic you're not so familiar with. But this is for a shipment going from Finland to Shanghai. And this customer just wanted to say, hey, I'm not caring maybe so much about the price. I also want to see what is the comparison between time and CO2 emissions for my transport. So here we just made the comparison of different transport modes. So the shipment can go via truck to Brussels, and then with the airplane to China, or with a truck to Frankfurt, and then with a plane to China, or it can go directly from Finland to China. And the other solution, the last solution on the right, you can see this is like a solution of air freight and ocean freight combined. So here you see the direct implications. For example, the fourth solution, the one with combined transport mode, has by far the longest transit time, but is the greenest solution because it's not all transported via air freight. And you can also see that a direct flight, for example, can also be very helpful, of course, in regards to the speed, but sometimes very, very expensive. Yeah. So I think this shows quite nicely that you can also make a decision. These are quite heavy costs, of course, for such services, but this you always have to kind of balance what are your priorities. So it's not always the right solution, but I think balancing these factors like CO2, the costs, and also the transit time is important to keep in mind. And I think more and more of our customers are asking for that, and that's also our job to create this transparency or this balance. Huh? Yeah, and happy to discuss it. If you have more questions or interest in this sector, let me know. Thank you.